Hello, welcome back. In the last video, we saw how we can play with the configuration of parameter, right? And we have seen various options are available, and also we saw the simulate parameter so that we can figure out how the parameters are going to be replaced in during the runtime. So let's revert back to the original values, whatever this three, and then like our goal here was to get a random value. Okay, and last time in the last video we saw how can we get a random value by creating a file parameter, and here so let's do the same thing in a more nice way. So let's create new parameter, and let's say the parameter name is p underscore crs p underscore course, and then instead of choosing file we have something called random number. Okay, so let's choose that. So now number 3 being replaced by a parameter. So let's go and see the parameter properties. So what I'm seeing right now is that the parameter type in previous video it was file, now it is a random number, and it will choose a random number between 1 to 100. If I make it to 1000, so it will choose anything between 1 to 100. Notice that I do not have to go and write myself like this kind of numbers there. Okay, so you can imagine how hard it would have been if you want to type 1 to 1000. Okay, instead of that you use the random number parameter type so that you can get a random value. Again, how the updation will happen at each occurrence or each iteration or once, the same kind of the same principle that we saw before. Okay, so this is one type of parameter. So there are kinds of different types of parameter, and we discussed right now random number. And similarly, if you want to get a unique number, okay, so that is the in that case what you can do, you can just go to parameter properties and change to unique number. Okay, so if you get a unique number, then what is going to happen is that that number going to start from 1, and then it will allocate 100 numbers 1 to 100 to the user number 1. Okay, and then it will allocate you know another chunks of number to virtual user number 2. So by doing this, okay, what we can do, we can allocate a unique number to a virtual user, so that to unique number to a virtual user. So this kind of scenario is very useful when you want to you are testing an application, and that application is inserting to database a value that is unique, or that is the primary key in that table in the database. So in that case what you do, we use this kind of parameter unique number, so that we can ensure that we never ever going to enter duplicate value. If we are going to, when we are out of values, then we are going to say this abort user. If we do this continue user, then it's going to start the last. If you say that continue the last value, then we are not going to generate really unique values. Okay, so that is another type of parameter. So this is called unique number. So next, let's take a look at the date time type. So in date time type, let's say if a parameter that I want to change to date time, then it's going to generate me a date string like this. So when this kind of things are important. So let's say I want to test this website orbis.com. I want to get a date here. So instead of me creating a date, what I can do, I can use this functionality that virtual user generator is providing by default by choosing a parameter type that is of date time, and then I will choose the proper format. So if I do this in so this is how day is 5th of December 2013. Okay, and also you can create your own formats and so on, and also you can also give some kind of offset, right, so that it will happen whatever the current date today, it will happen 2 days before. Okay, so you can just play with this, and also you can also put some logic that it's only happen on work days. Say for example you are trying to test some banking transaction. Let's say the bank transaction can be done only during the work days. Whenever it's going to generate a value, that value would be a working day for that year. Okay, so instead of you having your algorithm to do these things, VUGen provides you these things by default. So you just need to know what is available and then use those things so that your script can be more maintainable and your script can be easier to read. And another use of dead time is sometimes you want to generate a unique string. So here's a trick to generate unique string. Let's say I choose this thing. Okay, let's say I choose a format that is year, month, day, hour, minute, second, and then up to 3 precision. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove all this hyphen here. So if I remove all those hyphens here, so now looks like I'm going to get a number. And look, this number is kind of, if you want to do some testing, right, and I just use this number, it's probably going to give me a unique number here. Okay, so this is another trick that a lot of time you might like to use, that if you choose a parameter type that is date time, then you can do these things. So here's another scenario. So let's say go to this very popular application maps.google.com, and in maps.google.com I want to search a address. Let's say that address is 200 East Santa Clara, San Jose, right? So this is what is a address, right? So how do I parameterize this thing? Let's say I want to create a user script, and that script requires a parameter like this. Okay, so that script requires a parameter. Let's say I'm just putting it here, so that just to show you, but it's not going to work anyway. So how do I do this? 200 is the number of the street, then this is the street name, this is the city name, and this is the state name. So what we can do, we can create a parameter, and that parameter is called table type. So let me show you. So I replace this thing with a parameter, create new parameter, and let's say the parameter name is x1, and then go to properties, and here you choose as table. Okay, and then it is going to give a file name. Let's say create table. Okay, let's create the data and edit with notepad. So what happened, that we can basically store something like this, like let's say this is Santa Clara. Okay, save, close. Okay, okay, so this x1 is a parameter that is of table type, and this has only one column. Let's add couple of more columns. Okay, and here what I'm going to do, I'm going to do a little bit of, so this is 200 and this is East Santa Clara Avenue, and I'm going to then this is a San Jose. We just and then add one more column, and that column is, let's say, California. Okay, and then close it. So now what I have done, we have a table has multiple columns. The first column is the street number, second one the street name, third one is the city name, fourth one is the state name. Then here what we can do, we can do something like select all columns, or we can give select column by number, say 1 2 4. And if we do this, what it is going to do in the runtime, whenever you're going to substitute that parameter, then it will do something like a string like 200 comma East Santa Clara State comma San Jose comma California, and it will replace that one there. So the difference between the file parameter type and table parameter type is that in case of table parameter, you can merge couple of rows. Okay, so that is what you saw. Like you can merge couple of cells, and then form. And this is very useful when we want to store, when we want to give, sometimes you want to give the address in this format, and some other time we want to give the address in another format, that is 200 East Santa Clara, San Jose, and California. Okay, so like basically, if you want to give in one go in one text field like the maps that Google does, then you have to do this way. But sometimes some other application, they want your they want your address name like this. There is one text field where you give the your strict name, another field where you give the city name, another field where you give your state name. So in that case, what we're going to do, we are going to select from this table, okay, only one column at a time. But whenever we want to switch to a maps.google.com, you can use the merge capability that table parameter type gives you and put all those things together in one place. Okay, so that is the main difference between the table parameter type and file parameter type. So let's go to take a look. So we discussed this one, we discussed this one, we discussed this one, and we discussed table name, table parameter type. And then also you can basically have your own function, and that function is going to generate, that function is going to return a value. Okay, so if that is the case, then what you can do, you can use a parameter that is called uh, so you can use a parameter that's called user defined function. So here you have to give the DLL name where your function exists, and then your function name, what is the function name, and that function must be returning a value, and that is what is going to get the value and put it, substitute here during the runtime. So with this, I think we have a very good idea about parameter types and then what kind of things we'll use. I hope you like this. Thank you.